Hey guys and gals, it's Keegan with Seared and Smoked, and today we're making an awesome pulled pork out of this nice pork butt that we're gonna put on the pit barrel smoker. Just got this sucker, just purchased it in the last week or so, and I'm looking forward to using it. So I think this will be a great test run because generally a nice big piece of pork shoulder is an easy smoking process. Probably gonna be around 300 degrees, somewhere in there for the smoker temperature, so I expect it to take maybe around 8 hours. And we're gonna try to not wrap it, and we're not gonna hang it on the pit barrel like you definitely can, but I don't really see a reason to hang it, so we're gonna put it right on the grill grate, which is about, probably 18 inches above the coals or so, and we'll see how it goes. So we're gonna inject this, we're gonna rub it, put it on the smoker. Should be a great day. Let's get it going. All right, so we have our pit barrel cooker here. We're gonna go ahead and get a little mini chimney starter full of Fogo charcoal. So we're using lump charcoal, and we're just gonna go ahead and get that started, and just have about half full. So it's we're using little tumbleweed starters today. I think they work awesome. And go ahead and get that fired up. Drop our charcoal in, and then we're gonna try to get this sucker up to around 275, 300, somewhere in there. It's a 30-degree day today, so we'll see how that does. This is my first run on the pit barrel, making the pulled pork, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we got our charcoal stacked up in there, just up to the top of the handle, and then we just have a small amount of charcoal right on top there. So we're not putting a lot in there. We're gonna kind of let it temp up slowly. And now we'll just put in our temperature control, throw on the grate, because we're gonna put the pork butt right on the grate. We're not gonna hang it, and things should turn out pretty good. Let's see how it goes. All right, we're coming up to temp here. It's up to 200 already, so it's temping up real fast. We got a little ThermoPro wireless set up so we can see what the temp is as we prepare our pork butt. Now let's get that pork butt ready to roll. All right, so we have our pork butt, or pork shoulder, depending on what area of the country you're from. And we got it nice and trimmed up, so we got a little fat cap trimmed off that. And now we're gonna make a marinade. We just have about a half stick of butter. And then we're just gonna add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And I try to use about 1/3 ratios of butter, apple cider vinegar, and then some olive oil. So we're giving ourselves a nice liquid to start out with for our injection. And today we're gonna use Yardbirds, or Plowboy's Yardbird rub. This is one of my favorites. And I use this for the rub a lot because it is pretty finely ground. So like a lot of my homemade rubs are a little coarser, and they get clogged up in the injector. So we're just doing a couple scoops of that, and then we're gonna microwave this and inject it with our, this is our little Cajun injector. So it's a cheap injector, it's about 10 bucks. I'll put the link down below, and works well. You can use larger ones such as this big stainless steel guy, but it also is a little larger, a little harder to control in my opinion. So a lot of times I end up using this guy. Just don't put it in the dishwasher because it'll ruin the seals. All right, we'll microwave this, and then we'll rub and inject. All right, we got a little cocktail of meat marinade there that we're gonna inject. That's, once again, is our 1/3 olive oil, apple cider vinegar, and butter. And we're gonna use our homemade rub that I mixed up last night to rub this down. I'll put the recipe down below. It's a laundry list of items that is probably too long to go through, but has a lot of, a good amount of herb actually. So a lot of some different herbs, thyme, rosemary, and oregano. It also has a lot of your traditional items such as chili powder, paprika, of course salt and pepper, cumin, things of that nature. So, but some other things as well. So I'll put that down below in the show notes so you can check that out. And we're just gonna rub this sucker down all over, lay it on pretty thick. One thing to note, this rub does not have any sugar in it. So We're expecting this cook to be a little higher temp, around 300 degrees today. So I'm excluding sugar, which if I was going low and a little lower, a little slower, then I probably would have a decent amount of brown sugar in this rub too. But today we're not having that. And generally you'll just cake this on pretty thick. It's a big piece of meat. It can take a lot of rub. You just want it so it's not, basically let the meat decide how much is going to stick to it. So give it plenty of opportunity for this rub to stick on there, and then we're going to inject it. Hit all the sides, front, back, every surface you can find. All right, now we're going to inject it. Just make sure to stir up the marinade before you inject it. The solids tend to go to the bottom. And we just want to get a nice pull off this. And then just kind of work your way through it in a systematic way. Try to go in through like one entry hole and then just work the syringe around. And you're going to get some that's going to come out the top. It's not a big deal. And right now this is actually the bottom. So I usually hit the bottom of it, and then our fat cap's on top. We got that trimmed down so there's not a ton of excess fat on it. And just keep injecting. You'll have sometimes a little volcano effect squirting out the top, so just be careful. Don't inject it fast. That's the main thing, and you should be fine. And this is just going to give us a little more moisture, and it's also going to give you some flavor too. I like the vinegar in it. I think it kind of, works as maybe a little bit of a tenderizer, but it works just fine without this step too. So feel free to do what you want. This is just kind of like an added insurance policy that everything's going to turn out awesome. And I don't really go, you'll find your bone right there, and I usually just try to stay away from that a little bit. It's just really no point in injecting, I think, right up close to it. And we've gotten pretty much everything we can out of that. So then I'll put a little more roe on top, and we're going to put it right on the smoker. All right, time to put this big 8 to 9 pound pork butt on. Just got to remove one of the rods here. Put our temperature controllers kind of outside of the smoker. Pull the grill grate. I'm going to throw on one piece of apple wood, kind of the outside of the coals. Right, not directly on the hot spot. Put our pork butt back on. Just put that sucker right in the center. Put the rod back in. The rod actually regulates the temperature, so you got to put those suckers in whether you're using them or not. I think I'll probably try to get a couple corks to maybe plug one hole in each side so you don't have to worry about that so much. We'll put our probes back in. So we got one hanging out on the grill grate level, and then we'll put one right in the meaty part of our pork butt. That's all she wrote. Probably expect this to take around 8 hours. We'll see. And temperature was around 300 degrees, so I think we're set. We'll check back in later. All right, so we're about 7 hours into the cook. I thought we'd just take a look at the pork butt because daylight is running slim around here. It's December, we're about 2 weeks away from the shortest day of the year, so I'm just running out of time. But yeah, it's been on there about 7 hours. Things are going good. The temperature's fluctuated between around 210 degrees all the way to 280 degrees, closer to 300 for the actual temperature in the pit barrel. So I've just found had to shift a few coals around a few times. Still kind of getting the hang of how this thing works. So, but let's take a look at the pork butt, and then the next time we'll see it, we'll be shredding this sucker. All right, so the pork butt is at 180 degrees, so we're probably gonna be on there at least another probably hour and a half, maybe closer to 2 hours. So total cook time maybe will probably end up around 11. And right now the temperature is 284 inside. So let's have a look inside of this pit barrel cooker here. And we're coming along. It's looking nice. You still see a little moisture build up on top of it, so it's still nice and juicy. And I'm probably just going to rotate this just a little bit, just to give it some, just to vary that up a little bit. And we'll put the top back on and keep smoking. See you here in about an hour and a half or so. Okay, our pulled pork is finally done. Just pulled it off the smoker about 40 minutes ago to let it rest. I didn't wrap it in the smoker, but when I pulled it out, put it on this pan here and just put a nice tight wrap around it. So that way all the juices stay in as it's resting. It's kind of doesn't really steam it too much, but does just makes it a little more tender as it sets up, and just comes down to temperature a little bit. So let's pull this sucker and see what we got. For the test, see how easily this sucker pulls apart here. And it's pretty tender. Got a nice little pink smoke ring going on there. Just using the meat claws. Really juicy. That's a nice piece there. I like a little piece with a little bark on it, a little fat on it. To me, that is the perfect piece right there. Let's do a little taste test. Nice and tender. That is a pretty nice pork butt. All right, that's a wrap on the pit barrel cooker and some pulled pork. We'll be doing this again. We'll be playing around the pit barrel some more in the future. If you're interested in that, subscribe, as well as just barbecue recipes in general. As we work our way through towards Christmas and the New Year, we're just gonna keep rolling with the outdoor cooking. We're not gonna let the cold slow us down. So once again, Keegan with Seared and Smoked. Thanks for joining me.